Today we are comparing 4 similar high-end S-type guitars head to head. Will they sound different or will they sound largely the same? Let's find out. The first guitar in this test is my trusty Suhr Classic Pro. This one is loaded with their V70 single coils and SSV bridge humbucker. The next is my brand new Fender Custom Shop 65 reissue. This guitar I've owned for just over a week now, so it's super new. It's loaded with Seymour Duncan Antiquity 2 Surfer pickups, which are meant to be a 60s style just with the hotter bridge. Then the remaining 2 guitars are owned by my buddy Sean. They are his Rutters, which is loaded with Klein Epic 60s pickups. His other guitar is an Xotic XSC, which is loaded with their raw vintage 60s pickups. This comparison is mostly just for fun. We wanted to see how large or little the differences are between 4 S-style guitars that share a lot of similarities. But there's no denying they also have some differences. Structurally, they all feature a rosewood board, maple neck, alder body, 25.5-inch scale length. In addition, the pickups on all but the Suhr are meant to go after the 60s style. However, the pickup heights are all a bit different, the bridges are different, the setup and action are very different, and the strings are different as well. The Fender has brand new Elixir NanoWeb 9s, the Suhr has the same but an older set, the Xotic has brand new NYXL 10s, and the Rutters has brand new Elixir OptiWeb 10s. So just keep that in mind. We're going to start off with Sean playing through the guitars using his go-to FX III Dumble patch. No tweaks were done for any guitar. Obviously, each tone could be refined, but we try to keep it pretty neutral. Stay tuned. After this first demo comparison, we're going to make some adjustments to the guitars and then run them through my Handwired Princeton and Suhr PT15 tube amps later in the video. All right, take it away, Sean. So first and foremost, huge thank you to Sean for lending me his guitars and offering to do some playing for this video. I've got his Instagram in the description. Go give him a follow. He's an amazing guitar player. As for the test, I thought it was very, very interesting. Ignoring how they feel to play, which is a whole other thing, tonally they were quite different in my opinion. The biggest surprise was the Xotic's extra output in mids and how it kind of trampled over the weaker, thinner sounding single coils of the other guitars. Before saying anything more though, I'm going to compensate for the output difference a bit by raising the Fender's pickups and the Suhr single coils just to see if that makes a difference. I'm also going to lower the Suhr bridge humbucker a bit because it felt quite hot and pretty muddy in comparison to the Rutters humbucker. Once that's done, we'll run them into my Princeton and Suhr PT15 behind me, and I don't know, maybe I'll throw in some pedals for fun. We'll see how it goes. All right, let's do it. Well, there you have it. Listening back, I did feel like the adjustments we made to the guitars helped a little bit, but it did not drastically alter them by any means. The Xotic single coils were still higher output sounding compared to the rest. This resulted in more gain from the amp. I feel like the Xotic was very pleasing to the ears though. I didn't think it really ever got harsh, and it had a really nice natural high-end roll-off, and the extra mids just kind of made it a bit more girthy. I did feel like it got a little muddy in the wound strings compared to the rest though. By contrast, the Fender and Rutters both had quite a bit of extra clarity in top-end chime, which might be too much for some. To me, the Fender and Rutters went back and forth on which sounded more mid-scoop to me, but both were way more mid-scoop than the Xotic or the Suhr. This, I think, helped them achieve some of those classic, quacky, chimey in-between tones, with the Fender in particular really shining in position 2 for me, but it was a little too thin in position 4. Otherwise, I felt like the Rutters had the most high-end content at the upper frequencies, and did kind of fall apart on the wound string clarity. The Suhr, meanwhile, had its own thing going entirely. It had a really punchy quality in the mid-range, which almost had like a vowel sound to it at times. I found the higher end soft compared to the Fender and Rutters, but not quite as soft or thick as the Xotic. The bridge humbucker remained very hot in comparison, even after I lowered it, and the 2-position didn't have the same level of quack as the others. So what exactly can I attribute to the differences we heard today? Well, it's hard to say how much is the pickups, how much is the strings, how much is the hardware. I'd like to think adding 10s to the Fender would help thicken the plain string tone up a bit. And we all know brand new elixirs are extremely bright, so over time it should settle some. But I don't think that'll make it sound just like the Xotic. The differences between those two, I believe, are caused mostly by the pickups, which on paper at least are supposed to be going for the same sort of tone. I don't know, I'm a little confused to be honest. I think it'd be really interesting to check the resistance readings on them, so let's grab the multimeter and just see how they compare. All right, I've got the Fender Custom Shop here, I've got a multimeter, and I've got a short patch cable, so we'll go ahead and plug that in. And then I'll try and position this so you guys can easily see the readings. There we go. And let's see what it measures. This is neck pickup. About 6.14. The middle should be exactly the same or thereabouts. And it is. And then the bridge, which should be hotter, is at about 9.45, so quite a bit hotter. All right, let's go ahead and move over to the Xotic. All right, so we've got the Xotic now. Let's try and position that. So again, everything on 10, we're on the neck pickup. Interesting, so it's actually reading lower than the Fender Custom Shop with the Seymour Duncan Antiquity 2s. That is very interesting. Middle, about the same. Bridge. Wow, I am very surprised. I was not expecting that. I was expecting this guitar to read quite a bit hotter based off of the tone differences. Okay, well, let's go ahead and check the other guitars. All right, we've got the Suhr. Everything on 10, starting with the neck pickup. Just over 6. Middle. About the same. Bridge, I'm expecting this to be pretty hot. Yeah, that's pretty hot, so just under 9K. All right, let's go ahead and try out the Rutters. All right, and last we have the Rutters here. I'm very, very interested to see how the single coils compare to the Fender Custom Shop and the Xotic, and how the bridge humbucker compares to the Suhr. I'm anticipating these to be pretty low output, but apparently I was wrong with the Xotic, so let's see. This is bridge, everything on 10. Yeah, super low, 7.3 on the bridge humbucker. Let's go middle. Yeah, very low as well, about 5.7. Neck, about the same. Wow, okay, yeah, so this makes sense to me. These sounded very low output to me, very chimey. I'm still shocked by the Xotic. Very interesting. So that was surprising to say the least. Not at all what I was expecting. Based off of what I heard, it really thought the Xotic would be a lot higher output. It was actually lower output. So that just shows you that resistance rating is not everything. My takeaway is that something with the construction of the pickups, magnets or wire, or both are causing the differences we're hearing, even though, again, they're supposed to be a 60s style pickup. Very interesting. Now, taking the pickups out of the equation, let's see how they differ acoustically. This should give us a glimpse into the tonal differences caused mostly by the hardware and strings. Obviously, the pickups will not have an effect on this. Well, the Rutters Telly style bridge, and maybe even the fact it has bare wood and no paint, really made for a very loud resonant guitar compared to the rest. The Xotic and the Fender, I thought, actually resembled their plugged-in tones pretty closely, with the Xotic being more full and warm, while the Fender was definitely more focused and thinner. Finally, the Suhr was, again, kind of in the middle, not as fat as the Xotic and not as bright as the Fender. In this case, we can mostly narrow the differences down to the strings and the bridge/saddles. So overall, what was my favorite sounding? Well, to be honest, it changed from demo to demo. All four I thought had their moments, but they were definitely different, and I'm guessing most of you watching will probably gravitate towards one as your consistent preference. For me, I'd put the Fender and Xotic as tier 1, the Rutters closely behind in tier 2, and the Suhr in tier 3, mostly because I thought the Suhr was pretty middle of the road, and I usually preferred another guitar over it. But that's just me. What did you guys think? Comment below. Sean and I would love to hear your opinions. To be honest, this whole video has sparked a ton of curiosity in me, so I've decided I'm going to try and get to the bottom of the differences between the Fender and the Xotic. Hit that subscribe button because we're going to put 10s on the Fender, and then we're just going to swap the pickguards between them to see truly how much of a difference the electronics and pickups are making. So stay tuned, hit that thumbs up button if you appreciate these sort of videos, and we'll catch you in the next one. See ya.